Nehemiah chapter 6. So the wall was finished on the 25th day of Elul in 52 days. And it happened when all our enemies heard of it and all the nations around us saw these things that they were very disheartened in their own eyes. For they perceived that this work was done by our God. I preached a message just a few nights ago on New Year's Eve that what the Lord has put in my heart that I believe for our lives and for this church in 2026, that this is the year of the unstoppable. How many want to be part of an unstoppable movement, unstoppable church? How many in your own life you want to be unstoppable? If you want to, can we get over the little holiday like hangover or whatever and like lock in? How many want to be unstoppable? All right, there we go. I know it's the early service, but y'all got to wake up. If you want to be unstoppable, one of the key aspects is focus. There was a story of a young carpenter who was extraordinarily talented, and everybody that would see his work would say that he was full of potential. But when they were saying that, what they were really saying is that he hasn't really finished anything much yet. He'd start a table, and then halfway through, because he got a better idea, he decided to build a bookshelf, start a bookshelf. He would start a staircase and then switch to carving decorations because it felt more exciting than that staircase. And he ended up with a shop that was full of half-built furniture. Nothing terrible, but nothing finished. And one day there was an older carpenter who came to his shop to visit, and he began to walk around looking at all the half-completed works. There were tables with no legs, drawers with no handles, and sanding half done on everything. And this young carpenter was waiting for the compliment to come from the old man. Instead, what he got was a sentence that kicked him right in the gut. The old carpenter said to the young one, "Son, your problem isn't skill. Your problem is that you keep climbing down from the work." He pointed to a single rough table and he said, "Finish that one. Don't start anything else. Don't answer every knock at the door. Don't chase every good idea. Don't stop when it gets boring. Finish it." So he did. He sanded when the sanding felt pointless. He measured when his mind wanted to wander, and he stayed with the boring parts, the tiny adjustments, the repetition, the unseen labor. And when he actually finished the table, it was solid and beautiful and useful. And when he completed that work, it changed something inside of him. For the first time in his life, he didn't just dream like a craftsman, he became one. And from that moment on, his shop looked different. He may have had fewer ideas, but he had more completions. There was a whole lot less noise, but there was more substance. Here's the truth that he carried for the rest of his life. Greatness doesn't come from what you start. It comes from what you refuse to walk away from. Let me tell you something. I want to help you. I'm telling you, listen to what I'm saying today. Focus is not glamorous. It is not loud. It is not exciting. But it's the difference between a life full of half-built potential and a life that actually builds something that lasts. And the book of Nehemiah contains the story of a man for whom the book's namesake. He has a burden from God and he refuses to look away. Beginning of the book, he's serving as a cupbearer to the Persian king, and he hears that Jerusalem, the religious hub, its walls were broken down and its people were demoralized, and it wrecks him so deeply that he prays, and then he fasts, and then he acts. And God opens a door, and Nehemiah returns to the city to start this rebuilding effort. And he rebuilds not just the walls of the city, but he begins to rebuild the identity and the courage and the faithfulness to God's covenant for the people of Jerusalem. And as he starts the work to rebuild these walls of Jerusalem, this guy Nehemiah is mocked, and he experiences political pressure and fear tactics and even spiritual manipulation. But he keeps his focus on the people and refuses to be distracted. This is a commissioning by God, and it isn't a hobby. It isn't a side project. This was a divine mandate. Heaven has the blueprint, and Nehemiah's got the hammer. I want to tell everybody in this room, you have a divine mandate over your life. You don't have to be called to stand in this pulpit or to stand on this stage to have a divine mandate over your life. You have a divine mandate in the marketplace. God has purpose for your life right where you are. And right when the job was almost finished, as the gaps were closing, for Nehemiah, that's when the enemy makes his move. That's how it works. The enemy doesn't just attack you before you start. He attacks you when you're close to that breakthrough, close to obedience, close to clarity, close to wholeness. And he waits until the wall is high and the progress is undeniable and the momentum is building. And then he starts to whisper, just come down. And this is the place where Nehemiah finds himself. He's rebuilt most of the walls. He's sitting still at the top of the wall. He's still working when he's extended the invitation to come down off the walls. There are these three guys, Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem, three characters who are in opposition to Nehemiah. These are the bad guys. Remember their names. And they send word and say, hey, Nehemiah, come meet us on the plain of Ono. This was neutral ground. Their letter had a friendly tone about it. It was giving almost like leadership summit vibes. But Nehemiah discerned that they meant him harm. And he responds with the line that should serve as the clarion call in your soul. In verse 3, he says, I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. That's not arrogance, that's clarity. Because Nehemiah knew who he was, what God had called him to do, and what the mission required. And once you know all these things, it becomes a whole lot easier to say no. How many know that no is a complete sentence? So step one, you've got to figure out who you are, what you're called to, and what is required to be successful in that calling. The enemy is smart enough to know that he doesn't have to outright destroy you, because all he's got to do is distract you. And he knows that if he can distract you, distracted people are eventually going to self-destruct anyway. Distraction is the enemy's first attack. And Nehemiah doesn't fall for it. So they send the message again and again and again and again. 4 times the same invitation to come down off the walls, the same manipulation, because distraction's not going to leave you after one refusal. It's going to circle the block one more time. And here's the harsh truth that people don't want to face. Most believers don't self-destruct through rebellion. They self-destruct through exhausting negotiations with distractions. They keep climbing down off the wall to explain themselves or to defend themselves or to answer critics who are never going to support them anyway. So hear me clearly today. If you keep pausing your life to argue with people who aren't building anything, don't be surprised when progress stops. Some of y'all are way too available to the wrong voices. And so Nehemiah, with resolve in his spirit, he says, I can't come down. He didn't say, I don't want to. He didn't say, maybe later. He didn't say, let me pray about it. He said, no. Because when the mission is great, your boundaries have got to be strong. I preached a message a few weeks ago about the Apostle Paul, who wrote to the church in Corinth. He was in Ephesus, and he said that a great door for an effective work had been opened to him, and there were many who opposed him. This is the same situation that Nehemiah is in. When you're being effective in doing what God has called you to do, the opposition is going to come. The distractions are going to come. Anything can and will happen to deter you from moving forward. And once you've made the decision that you're going to start making some moves, that's when the enemy gets in your ear. That's when the people start pulling up. That's when people start talking about you. Don't he think he's something? Posting all that stuff on social media. Look at her. She thinks she's making some moves. They start talking about you while you're doing it until they discover, oh shoot, they're really doing it. When distraction fails, hear me, when distraction fails, the enemy turns to slander. So they attempted to reach Nehemiah through an invitation to come meet them, and Nehemiah refused to come down off the walls that he was rebuilding. When that failed, they decided to send an open letter, meaning that everybody could read it. And inside this letter, it says, Nehemiah, we heard you're rebelling, and we heard that you want to be the king. You know what this is? False accusations, public defamation, narrative warfare. Does that sound familiar to anybody in this room? When the enemy can't ruin you through distraction, he's going to attempt reputation assassination. And in spite of this attempt to assassinate his reputation, Nehemiah still refuses to come down off the walls. He doesn't go on an apology tour. He doesn't gather together a PR team. He doesn't call for a press conference, and he's not defending himself on Facebook. He simply says this: you're lying. None of this is true. And then in verse 9, he prays this simple prayer: Lord, strengthen my hands. What a prayer. Short, strong, surgical. Think about it. What doesn't he pray for? He doesn't pray that his haters go away. He prays for the strength to keep building. Because unstoppable people don't need easier circumstances. They just need stronger hands. Leveling up your capacity doesn't mean that the load gets lighter. It means that you get stronger to handle whatever's coming your way. Distraction failed. Slander failed. When slander fails, the enemy turns to fear. So these guys, they hire this false prophet to manipulate Nehemiah spiritually. And this false prophet comes to warn Nehemiah. He says, come hide in the temple. They're coming to kill you. Notice the strategy. The distraction didn't work. The slander didn't work. So the enemy reaches for fear wrapped in spirituality. Not atheism, not demonic imagery, but in religious counsel. As if he was saying, do something safe, protect yourself, lower the risk, step back from your obedience. And Nehemiah responds in verse 11. He says, should a man like me run away? In this moment, he refuses to live small because fear will shrink you before it ever stops you. If the enemy can make you timid, he doesn't need to defeat you. You're just going to surrender your own progress. The real battle isn't the wall. The real battle is your focus. This passage is a case study of psychological warfare. Sanballat, the enemy, he doesn't swing a sword. He swings narratives. He attempts to attack Nehemiah's time and his emotional bandwidth and his reputation and his security. Because if he can drain Nehemiah's focus, the wall ain't gonna build itself. Can I be painfully honest? Many people don't experience breakthrough, not because God isn't moving, but because you keep coming down from the wall. You keep coming down to argue on social media, to chase approval, to defend yourself, to explain your decisions, to fight petty battles, to deal with unnecessary drama, to dive headfirst into everybody else's toxicity, and to manage other people's insecurity. Meanwhile, the work that God gave you is sitting over there unfinished, and you stop making judgment calls. Start making judgment calls that is eroding your character. You're giving the enemy a foothold to exploit you, and you're thrown off your game, and you've lost focus. And now you're suffering, your spouse is suffering, your kids are suffering, your bank account is suffering, your purpose is suffering, and the kingdom is suffering. If you are going to become unstoppable this year, you've got to learn this sentence. I'm doing a great work here. I absolutely cannot come down. There are people in your life that you got to leave behind in 2025. Are they really your best friend, or were they your best friend 15 years ago? And you still holding on to things you ain't got no business holding on to. Relationships that have become chains, and you're trying to move and they're standing still and they're holding you back. It's not that we don't have the time. It's not, I'll try to come down or maybe next season. No, it's simply, I cannot come down off this wall. Why? Because my calling matters too much. My work matters too much. My path matters too much. The kingdom matters too much. My spouse matters too much. My kids, they matter too much. My future, my legacy, my focus is too expensive to waste. My obedience is not negotiable. Can I help you today? Stop coming down for critics who never build anything. Stop coming down for drama that doesn't advance your purpose. Stop coming down to chase every opportunity. Not every open door is from God. Stop coming down to explain obedience to people who don't even pray. Stop coming down to babysit other people's emotions. Stop coming down to apologize for you being focused. You got people in your life who are trying to make you feel bad for doing good. You ready for this? You got a choice. You can either rebuild the walls or you can stay busy putting out fires. But you cannot do both. You can either be focused on your purpose or distracted by bad decisions. But you cannot do both. Moses in Exodus 18, he was sitting there as a judge to all of the people, and his time was being occupied by being the adjudicator of every situation that would arise. And we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands, until thousands of people. And Moses was staying busy day and night, sitting, judging the people's affairs. When his father-in-law came to him and he said, Moses, this is not healthy for you to be sitting here day and night. Bro, you got to appoint some people, get some people around you who can help you carry the load of this. That's Exodus 18. What is Exodus 20? The 10 Commandments. If Moses didn't take Jethro's advice in Exodus 18, he never would have made it up the mountain to receive the covenant. Moses was doing a good thing by sitting there judging the affairs of the people, but he was not fulfilling his purpose as mandated by God in his life. Hear this, if you're taking notes, and you better be, write this down. Holy focus requires holy refusal. This message is not about doing more. No, this message is about guarding that what matters. Focus means you refuse the wrong invitation. And here's the part that hurts. Sometimes those invitations come from good people, from emotional needs, from old friends, from well-meaning relatives, from familiar habits, from comfortable patterns, but they are all pulling you away from the wall and pulling you away from the will of God for your life. So say it loud and clear. I cannot come down. Not because you're better than them, but because your work is holy. And here's what happens when your focus is unbroken. Verse 15. So the wall was completed. Don't let that fall as anticlimactic. Nehemiah wasn't the most talented. The wall wasn't completed because he was better or more gifted than anybody, and not because the opposition disappeared. It's not because God even removed the resistance, and it's not because Nehemiah had a better starter pack at the beginning of life, and Nehemiah didn't build the walls because he's a better Christian than you. Nehemiah built the wall because he refused to quit the work. And when it was finished, Scripture says that the enemies lost all their confidence. Whew, let me tell you. You want to know what the enemy fears? Your completion. He's not afraid of your passion or your ideas or your emotional moment. He fears the believer who finishes what they start. Why? Because finishing requires focus, and focused people are next to impossible to stop. I said it on New Year's Eve. Some of you this semester are about to go back to school. Some of you are about to go to college or a trade school for the first time this year, and you never thought it was possible. Some of you are going to start a business that you didn't think was practical for you. Some of you are going to receive an unexpected promotion. Some of you are getting raises because this is the year of the unstoppable. And you are going to focus in a way that you've never focused before. You're going to discipline yourself in a way that you never have before. You're going to pray every day. You're going to be in the Word every day. You're going to fast every month. You're not coming off the wall. This is your moment for success. This is your future in the making. This is you walking in your purpose. For the first time in your life, you're going to finish what you started. This is for somebody in this room. For the first time ever, your addiction is not going to win. For the first time ever, you're going to do something great because you refuse to quit. For far too long, you've aborted your future. For too long, you've aborted your calling. For too long, you've aborted your purpose. Because this thing came along, she came along, he came along, something shiny came along that pulled you off the wall of your purpose and progress stopped. Some of you have got 30 credit hours in the bank just sitting there. Get back on the wall and don't come down till it's done. Some of you have skills and greatness locked up inside of you. Whew. But you come down off the wall to smoke it up every day and you can't finish what you started. Today is the day that changes everything. Some of you have wealth in your future, but you keep spending money on stupid stuff. If we're talking in terms of sowing and reaping, the seed you have in your hand, I'm talking about your stacks, your racks, your cheddar, your dough, your bread, AKA your money. You're blowing your seed before you even have a chance to plant it in fertile soil. But this year, you're sowing into fertile soil so you can experience a harvest like you've never had before. So get back on the wall and get back to work. The Lord is going to help you, but you've got to stay on the wall in spite of every distraction, in spite of every opposition, in spite of every threat, in spite of every carrot on a stick. This is the year of the unstoppable. It's not a slogan, it's a consecration. If you're going to live this thing out, then you got to choose calling over convenience, clarity over chaos, spiritual priorities over constant busyness. Stop negotiating with distractions that have already proven to be enemies of your destiny. You don't become unstoppable by accident. You don't just stumble upon by getting it right. No, it doesn't happen through osmosis or spontaneous combustion. You become unstoppable by refusing to come down. Can you make this declaration with me for 2026? Come on, say, I will not be distracted. My calling, my time, my attention, they're too expensive for me to waste. I will not be distracted. Number two, I will not be manipulated by fear or approval. Why? Because God's voice is my authority. I'm not going to react, not going to give in to pressure or rumors. And number three, I will finish what God assigns. Even when it's hard, even when I'm misunderstood, even when I'm lonely, even when I'm attacked, even when progress is slow, even when the enemy circles back for a fourth time. Why? Because my mission is worth my focus. Nehemiah didn't pray for the distractions to be removed. He prayed, Lord, strengthen my hand. I look around this room and I see and I know people who are carrying heavy loads. And just because you carry it well don't mean it's not heavy. Some of you are the backbone of your whole family. You're carrying the weight of all your kids, your grandkids, maybe your parents, maybe your siblings. You're carrying it, and it's heavy, and it's been wearing you down. Some of you in 2025 have struggled so bad with giving in to the distractions that the enemy has put in front of you. And this message has just resonated right in your spirit that you're going to get back up on that wall and start building again, and you ain't coming down for nothing. I mean, nothing is going to deter you. Nothing is going to distract you. Nothing is going to slow you down. How many want to be unstoppable in 2026? Let me tell you where it starts. It starts right here. It starts today. Maybe you ought to write down on a note, January 4th, 2026, day one of the new me. Day one of the focused me. Day one of the undistracted me. Today is the day that changes everything in your life. What if, stand with me, I'm quitting. Whew. There are people in this room who are tired and weary. You feel like you don't have any W's in 25. Maybe you feel like you've even moved backwards this last year. Everything has been a struggle. You're frustrated. You're spinning your wheels. What if? I mean, call me crazy. But what if this scripture is true? And what if the cornerstone element you're missing in your life right now is your complete focus on Him? What if that is just the one missing piece that changes everything in your life? I don't like harping on cultural stuff, but I'm just going to say, man, doom scrolling is your enemy. Netflix can be your enemy. Anybody ever dare looking at their screen time every week? How many hours you have with your face in front of your phone? Now listen, there ain't nothing wrong with the phone. It's a tool. That's it. But it's all a matter of how you use it. You can use it to doom scroll, or you can use it to read the Word of God. You can use it looking for the tea. Or you can use it posting scripture. You can use it trying to figure out if they broke up. I know y'all do that. I do it too a little bit. I'm just being real. Or you can use it as a tool of an evangelist and spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. I've got everything but Snapchat. I'm too old. Half the time I call it Chat Snap. So I'm not against social media, but talking about distractions. What if the enemy has you lulled to sleep with your eyes on your phone? what if? And what if one decision today changes everything about your life? How many want to make a commitment today before God in this house and say, I'm getting back on the wall? I'm getting back on the wall, and I refuse to come. I cannot come down because I'm doing a good work. I cannot come down. It costs me too much to come down. I know, I see you over there, but that's not what God has. No, I cannot come down from what God has me doing right now. I've got purpose, I've got destiny. He's given me his instructions, and I know you mean well. Look, we've been cool a long time. I know you mean well. But look, right now you're a distraction in my life, and I can't come down off the wall. Listen, I'm closing this thing out right now. This is the most important moment. Give me 3 minutes and we're out of here. Don't look back at the clock. This is the most important moment of the 93 minutes you've been in this room. If you're in this room and you don't have a right now relationship with Jesus, I don't care what you had in 2025. I don't care what you had in 2015. I don't care what you had when you were 8 and your grandma drug you to church. I don't care about none of that. I'm talking about right now. If you can say, Pastor Ryan, bro, you've been hitting me like right between the eyes with this thing. And I've just been doing my own thing, making my own decisions, going my own way. Been living with distractions. Jesus has not really been part of the equation. I don't even really know how I got here today. My mom invited me. I'm here. But listen, you are here for a purpose. You're here for a reason. You're here for this moment. And this moment is for you to make the decision to make Jesus the Lord, the boss of your life, to give your life over to him and complete surrender so that he can lead every step that you take. And he created you with destiny and hope and a future, and he created you for good things. And for you to walk in those good things, you got to walk with him. And so this is a moment for you to stop doing life on your own, stop messing up all the time like you have been, and to get back up on the wall and to come into relationship with him, and it changes everything in your life. You hear this, preacher? I'm going to ask something that may be difficult for you. I want you to come meet me in this altar if I'm talking to you. I'm not going to embarrass you, not going to give you the microphone. I'm just going to say a prayer with you. And if you pray that prayer, you believe it in your heart, you start walking out, it changes your life. I'm telling you, it changes your life. They're already coming. If you're in this room and you want to say yes to Jesus, and you're ready to walk with him, you're ready to make a life change in 2026 is your year. This is your moment. Come on now, come on, come on. They're still coming, still coming. Come on, come on. Don't miss this moment. This is your moment that makes everything right. This is the moment that changes everything in your life. I'm going to give you just another second, man. There's a whole bunch of people that's come down here, but I don't want you to miss your opportunity.